Is your Algebra 3, Lesson 1 through 44, or 12B review. David, Michael, I don't have time to mess around. All right, we're going to start off with number 19. Okay, and my hope is that you guys have the answer key pulled up, because I'm going to kind of depend upon you guys a little bit here. It says factor x squared plus 5x plus 8 over the set of complex numbers. I think the easiest thing to do here is to use the quadratic formula. Okay, so I'm going to do negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times 8 all over 2 times 1. Does that make sense? We got that. Okay, so we got negative 5 plus or minus all over 2. And here we have, what, 25 minus, what? That's 25 minus, what, 32? What's 25 minus 32? And we know that's going to be negative, which is why it said it's going to be over a set of complex numbers. Negative 7. Okay. I'm looking at, what, 19 here. We got negative 7. All right. So really what we have here is we have two answers. We have negative 5 halves plus radical negative 7, or sorry, I think they do, yeah, they're going to do radical 7i over 2, or negative 5 minus radical 7i over 2. Now, we're not done. We've broken it up into two answers, but they want it over the set of complex answers. So what they're looking for here is x. Okay, now because this is a negative 5 halves, both of these are going to be plus 5 halves. Okay, x plus 5 halves. Does this make sense? Because both of these are negative 5s. Now, I'm going to get a positive radical 7 over 2i, or sorry, positive radicals, yeah, anyway. And I'm also going to get a negative radical 7i over 2. And confusing enough, I flip-flopped them because this positive is going to relate to this negative over here. This negative is going to relate to this positive over here on the left. But that's what our answer should look like. Do we understand this answer? Okay, this is what they're looking for. Right? This right here is the final answer. It is not that. Okay? We're clear. All right, good. All right, next one up is number 20. Number 20, write the quadratic equation with lead coefficient of 1 whose roots are 2 minus 3i and 2 plus 3i. Do you remember we talked about a rule a while back called the sum product? Okay, so the first step is we take 2 minus 3i plus 2 plus 3i. Okay, what happens with my 3i's? They cancel out, and I'm left with 4. So I'm getting x squared minus 4x. Okay, it takes the opposite sign of what I get from step 1. You follow me so far? Okay, then finally I do the product. So 2 minus 3i times 2 plus 3i. And what you'll notice is that these are some differences, so all I really have to do is the first and the outer. Okay, 2 times 2 is 4. Negative 3i times positive 3i is negative 9i squared. Okay, but I squared is negative 1, so I'm getting 4 minus 9 times negative 1. Negative 9 times negative 1 is positive 9. 4 plus 9 is 13. So I get plus 13. And on 20, yep, we're just leaving it exactly like that. Okay, so it can be a little confusing because your answer from step 1 takes the opposite sign. Your answer from step 2 keeps the sign. Are we good there? Okay. Number 3. Grizzled old mountain can chop 2 cords of wood in 1 day, so this looks like a rate times time plus rate times time equals jobs. So we're looking at, what, 2 cords per day? Okay, so 2 cords per 1 day is his rate, and that's the grizzled old mountain man. The other guy can do 2 cords in 3 days. The young lad chops for 2 days. Okay, so we could do, I think we can do, if I remember right, let's make sure I'm not doing it wrong. Yeah, he chops for 2 days, so his time is T plus 2. This guy is just T, okay, rate times time plus rate times time equals jobs. We want to know, they want to get, what, 12 cords? And we want to solve for time, okay? So really, this first one is just 2t, right? Okay, and then we can distribute here, so we're really getting, what, 2t over 3, right, plus 4/3 equals 12. Okay, if we want to combine these, this 2t plus this 2t over 3, I'm going to have to get a common denominator, right? All right, so I'd have to multiply it by, what, 3? So 2 times 3 is 6, so that'd be 6t over 3. All right, I can go ahead and combine those. I'm going to get, what, 8t over 3. I'm going to subtract 4/3 from 12. But again, I have the same problem where I'm trying to subtract fractions. So the easier thing to do is to multiply 12 times 3, which is 36. 36/3. So I got 8t over 3 equals what, 30, you said 32/3? Okay. So I just want t though, right? All right, technically we can put this t out here like this, and it's 8/3 times t. So if I want to get rid of the 8/3 and just solve for t, multiply by 3/8. So t equals, what's 37 times 3? Is it 30? Oh, I'm sorry, 32 times 3. 96. And 3 times 8 is, was that 24? 24, does that reduce at all? What is it? To just 4. So t equals 4, and we want to make sure we label. We're working with days, right? So if I check out 3, make sure I'm right, 4 days is correct. All right, next up on our list is 4. Okay, number 4. 500 liters of a solution was available, but the solution was 75% alcohol. Alberto needed a solution which was 30% alcohol. How many liters of alcohol had to be extracted so that the solution would be 30% alcohol? Okay. All right, let me take a look here. Okay, so we have 500 liters of a 75% solution. Okay, so let's do percent times amount. So that part of it makes sense. We have 500 liters of a 75% solution. Part of it, the biggest part to these questions is just reading it and making mathematical sense out of it. Okay, now we want to subtract an unknown amount, because the question is going to be how many liters have to be extracted. We don't know yet, okay? But we do know what we want it to be, right? We want it to be, what, a 30% solution? Okay? So we know we're going to have 0.3, and we're going to have 500, right, minus the unknown. Does this make sense in terms of how to set it up? Okay? Once you set it up, I think you guys can solve it from here. What's 0.75 times 500? 375. So we got 375 minus x. What's 0.3 times 500? 150 minus 0.3x, right? Okay. So technically speaking, that's 100% of whatever it is, right? Okay. So if I add, 1x okay? Or hold on, let's clear this up a little bit. Plus 1x, right? And I subtract 150 from 300, or from 375. What I'm getting, 225, something like that? I don't know. Are you sure? 225 equals, and I have negative 0.3 plus 0.7. What's that give me? What, 0.7? 0.7x divided by 0.7. What's 225 divided by 0.7? Did I do something wrong? I think I'm good so far. What's your question? Okay, negative 0.3 plus 1. You see it? Okay. 321 point, and we can take it to 2.43 liters. Okay, again, make sure we label. Does that make more sense now? Can we read that and see the equation? Okay, that's the hardest part. Pen. Okay. All right, what I want you guys to do is be turning these radians into degrees for me. Okay. I don't know if that's a typo or not because they've got some of these are cubed. Okay. So cosecant 210. Okay. Cotangent . Okay. All right, 210. That's what, 30 degrees past? So -1, negative radical 3, and 2. It's reciprocal to sine, so it's hypotenuse over opposite. So we could just say this as -2, right? So square, what's the -2 squared? 4. Okay, so we get an answer of 4 there. Okay, 135. 135 is what, 45 degrees off of 180? So 1, -1, radical 2. Cotangent is reciprocal to tangent, so it's still -1, right? So I'm going to bring this negative down here, but I have -1 here, -1 cubed. So it still stays -1. Okay, so I have really 4 plus 1 down here. Does that make sense? All right, and -90 degrees. So that's down here, right? So because sine represents y-axis, it would be -1, right? Okay, so I'm getting -1 cubed, which is -1. So this is plus -1. So I have 4 plus 1 is 5, minus 1 is 4. And let me check, this is what, 10? So let's see if I got the right answer there. 10, answer should be 4. Does this make sense to everybody? Did I lose you? Okay, so positive, okay, negative. Does that help? Okay. All right. 16. At the factory, W workers made P products in 8 days. Rate, workers, time, jobs. Okay. Okay, so we still have W workers. P jobs, 8 days, R. We always solve for R first. So R is equal to P over W8, or 8W. Okay, does that make sense? Because I'm going to divide by to solve for R. Okay, so if I know P over 8W is my rate, let's look at the next part of the question. How many days? That's going to be time. Is it going to take X more workers? Well, that's going to be W plus X. that make sense? Okay. To make the same number of products, so to continue making P products. Okay? All right. Make sure I'm not doing anything wrong here. Okay. So I would have P times W plus X over 8W times time equals P. Multiply by the reciprocal. So let me just drag this down here a little bit. Give myself some space. Too much space. Okay. So I'm going to write P over 1 times 8W over P times W plus X. Okay. So I get 8PW over, let's see, PW plus PX. Okay. The reason I did that is because I want you to see something. Can I simplify that at all? Yeah, what can I do? Take out the P's. Okay. Which my son would be excited about anytime you take away the P's. 8W, he doesn't like P's. W plus X. Can't take out the W, right? Is that your question? Because there's only one W in the denominator. I don't have a W in every term. X counts as a term. All right, so 16, 8W plus W plus X, and this is days. Okay? All right. 1. Now, I know we've got about 9 minutes here, and your question is going to be is, well, what about all the questions we don't cover? You guys have between now and I think Friday to ask questions. This is Friday. Okay, so I don't intend on staying late tonight to finish up whatever I don't get done. I intend on you guys asking. Okay, because we're covering the hardest ones. What? Yeah, if you guys have all your homework done on Thursday, then I'll finish. I'll make video number 2 on Thursday. If you have all your homework done on Thursday, that'll be part of our work day. If you guys want to do that. Okay. 1. Use the midpoint formula to find the equation of the line perpendicular to bisector. This is where you could use the equidistant formula. Okay, and that's probably what I'm going to do here, rather than using the midpoint formula in the perpendicular bisector method, because it's more steps. So I'm going to go ahead and set it up like this. Does anybody have a problem with that? No? Okay, so our coordinates, we've got x minus 2 squared plus y plus 3 squared. Does everybody understand how I got that? Okay. And the next one, we got x minus 6 squared plus y plus 1 squared. Everybody understands how we got that? Do we know why some things are negative and some things are positive? Okay, if it's a negative, it becomes positive. If it was positive, it gets a negative in here. What do I do with these individual terms that are under there? FOIL. So I'm going to do this in my head, a large part of it. Okay, x squared minus 4x plus 4. Everybody get that? Okay, plus y squared plus 6y plus 9. Everybody got that? X squared minus 12x plus 36 plus y squared, what was that, plus 2y plus 1. Questions? No, got it. What will automatically cancel out every time? X squareds and y squareds. Okay, what am I trying to move to the right? X's and constants, right? What am I trying to move to the left? Y's, okay? So I'm going to subtract 2y from 6y. All right, I'm going to add 4x to negative 12x. I've got a 4 and a 9, so I'm going to go ahead and just subtract 13. Does that make sense? All right, and I want to add 36 because it's already there, but so that I can see on the far right-hand side all the constants being added together, so I have to do it multiple times or lose things. Okay, so 6y minus 2y is 4y. Okay, Negative 12x plus 4x is negative 8x. And 1 plus 36 is 37. What's 37 minus 13? Positive 24, right? We're going to divide everything on the right and left by 4. So I get y equals what? Negative 2x plus 6. All right, this was question number 1. Let's double check that. They put it in what? General form? Double intercept form. They show 2x plus, okay, but I can see it up above it, y equals negative 2x plus 6. This is what I want, okay? That's what I'm looking for. I think I got time for at least one more question. This is what, number 2? Number 2, 4 phonics books, 5 philosophy books. So 4P and 5, let's call it F, philosophy. Sounds like an F anyway. How many ways can they be arranged if the phonics books are kept together and the philosophy books are kept together? So you're going to get 4 factorial, 5 factorial times 2. Okay? So, what is this on 2? So, wait, 4 and 5. Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. Yeah, 4 times 5 is 2,880 times 2. So the number that you should get, 5,760. Do not forget to multiply by 2. Okay, because, why is it times 2? Because I can flip the order around and do, you know, philosophy books and then physics or whatever it is. I don't remember. What did it say? Phonics books. All right. We still have 4 minutes. Let's try to do another one. Don't leave on me. Number 6. Try to get as many done as we can. Number 6. Evaluate. Do not use your calculator. Arc10. 1 over radical 3. Okay, basically what this is looking for is the degree measure. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, right? Okay, opposite, adjacent, which means this is 2, which makes this 30 degrees, right? Okay, so 6, let's double check. 6, 30 degrees. That's my, okay? All right, so that's A. Let's try to do B real quick. B, we want to know what the sine is at arctan negative 5 over 12. What this is looking for is a ratio. It wants to know what is the ratio at this point. Okay? So tangent is opposite over adjacent. So the opposite is negative, the adjacent is positive. So here's negative 5, here's positive 12, right? But since we're looking for sine, we also need the hypotenuse. All right, so I need 12 squared, which is 144, plus 5 squared, which is 25, so I'm getting what, 169? Square root of 169 is 13. So the sine, which is opposite, negative 5 over 13. And pretty sure that won't reduce. So 6b, negative 5 over 13. Hopefully we get that. It's just Pythagorean theorem. All right, so that's 6a and b. Let's stop right there. Okay, we covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hey, for most of you, if you got those 9 right, that would be a bump up on your score. So I don't feel too bad about getting 9 of them covered.